This past weekend, Karisuma SP17 went down in Japan, a regional that was Japan's biggest tourney last week, which was a bit of a mild week in terms of Smash tournaments, the largest one that happened being only classified as a super regional. But this may have been a blessing in disguise, as we now have a chance to cover some of the hidden bosses and regional threats in Japan that made up this top 8 at Karisuma. Now, just a disclaimer before we begin, as you may be able to tell, I am sick AF today. Literally everything hurts right now, but I'm still on that content grind. I can't be stopped. I tell you this because today isn't going to be a full video like I usually do, instead resembling a Tuesday or Thursday video. So without further ado, you can call me Turn Down for Rister because we'll be going over Karisuma SP17 and go over the 5 things that you need to know from it. The reason I'm doing this format is because my head is killing me, so I'd like to do something easy today. Number 5. Roki Tendon Man's Stunning Losers Run. Roki Tendon Man is a Japanese Rob main, and Karisuma SP17 marked their 14th actual tournament in offline play. Roki came into the event as the 18th seed and started off by winning his first set before having a close Game 5 set loss to Kenaji, starting off Phase 2 in losers. Once here, Roki would go on a phenomenal 5-set losers run to make top 8, defeating Saganeko 3-1, Tamopio 3-1, Sylph 3-1, and Matt 3-0 to make the top 8 qualifier. Here, Roki Tendon Man had a close Game 5 set with Futari no Kiyomi A, defeating them to make top 8 from loser's side. In top 8, Roki managed to defeat Levi 3-1 before losing to Miru 3-1 for a final placement of 5th as the 18th seed after 6 losers bracket victories in a row. Number 4. Kenaji, the Australian Invader, makes top 8. Kenaji is a player I've covered before, being the Australian player who won Floating Point 2023. Right now, Kenaji is living in Japan, but hasn't managed to break into the top 8 at anything significant until now. Kenaji came into the event as the 15th seed, starting off the weekend by making it into Phase 2 with no drop sets, but having a close Game 5 with Roki, like we discussed earlier. In Phase 2, Kenaji got a phenomenal 3-1 win over Ryuo, Japan's best Diddy and second best Diddy worldwide, before having a close Game 5 set with Yin, clutching it out in the end to make top 8 from winner's side. Unfortunately, in top 8, Kenaji lost back-to-back sets to Dio 3-0 in winner's semis and to Masha 3-1 in loser's quarters for a final placement of 5th. Number 3. Miru's Crazy Upsets. Miru is a Kazuya player who you might know as the Kazuya with the tag I Love Hamsters on Smashmate. Miru came into the event as the 9th seed, starting off by winning both their first 2 sets to make Phase 2 without dropping any games. In Phase 2, Miru defeated Matt 3-0 before getting a phenomenal 3-1 upset win over Tsubaki in order to make top 8 from winner's side. Once here, Miru would lose their first top 8 set to Goryoca in a close Game 5 set, dropping down into losers, where Miru defeated Roki Tendon Man 3-1 before Miru lost to Masha 3-0 for a final placement of 4th. Number 2. Goryoca's breakout performance. Goryoca is a Japanese Joker main who has been hanging around in the 13th and 9th place finishes at big Japanese tourneys. Well, Goryoca finally had their breakout at Karisuma SP17. Goryoca came into the event as the 5th seed, starting off the weekend by winning their first 2 sets 2-0 and 3-1 to make Phase 2 winner's side. Once here, Goryoca defeated Deer 3-1 before getting an insane Game 5 upset win over Masha, discarding their main Joker and instead pulling out their secondary Mewtwo when they went down 2-1, winning the next 2 games in order to take top 8 from winner's side. Now in top 8, Goryoca defeated Miru in a Game 5 set before losing in winner's finals to Dio. Now in losers finals, Goryoca would face Masha again, and this time lose the run back in a close Game 5 set for a final placement of 3rd. Before we get to our number 1, let's go over 2 honorable mentions. Kuriko Mochi's Losers Run. After losing to Komugiko and starting phase 2 from losers, Kuriko Mochi went on a 3-set losers run, eventually losing game 5 to Levi for a final placement of 13th. And lastly, Carmelo's losers run. After losing to Masha 3-1 to start phase 2 from losers, Carmelo went on a 4-set losers streak, eventually losing to Tsubaki in the losers top 8 qualifier for a final placement of 9th. Number 1. Masha's losers bracket tear. Masha, who came into the event as the 4th seed, started off the weekend by making phase 2 fairly easily, and after winning a close game 5 set versus Levi, Masha would lose in an upset loss to Goryoca's Mewtwo in a close game 5, dropping into losers. Masha then defeated Ryuo 3-0 to make top 8, where Masha went on a tear, defeating Tsubaki and Kenaji, both in 3-1s, before defeating Miru in loser semis 3-0 and winning the run back versus Goryoca in a close game 5 set. Waiting for Masha in Grands was Dio, who had a fairly dominant winners run so far, having defeated Kenaji and Goryoca to make Grand Finals. However, Masha was on a tear and defeated Dio 3-1 in Grands and 3-0 in the reset, becoming your champion of Karisuma SB17 after losing in winners quarters. That's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons, Death Laster and Foscol333, and my YouTube members Stormtrooper, Locosoko, Mattoon, Robopoke, Chavo, DJ Jr., and my tier 2 members Mike G90K. Until tomorrow, I've been Mr. Mice, and if you'll excuse me, I really need to get some rest.